What's up, gang? Ben here, and this video goes out to my boy Slim. You know who you are. We might just be the stupidest species on the planet, and I'm gonna get into that in just a second. This is totally unscripted. I kind of know what I want to say. That's about it. I'm wearing my glasses today because lightning bolts might shoot out of my eyes. This is something I'm pretty passionate about. Even if you're not a small business owner, stick around, because what I'm going to talk about today it affects everyone. If you're a U.S. citizen, if you file taxes in the U.S., I promise you this is going to impact you. So stick around at the end. I'll try to make this quick and brief. Lightning bolts might shoot out of my eyes. I get pretty passionate about this when I talk about the IRS. So bear with me. But why are we so stupid? Why are we possibly the stupidest species on the planet? I got to rewind a little bit and tell you a little bit of I told you so as I get into this. So let's go back a few years, couple years. 2020. Do y'all remember we got a coin shortage and we need to start switching over to all digital currency, blah, 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 blah. And that was pretty real. You go to your local grocery store, can you use exact change, sir? All that BS. Well, we had back-to-back hurricanes in late summer of 2020 here in South Louisiana, and that just like suddenly disappeared. The coin issue like never happened. Mostly because if you went to get gas, because everyone's got no power for 2 weeks and you're running generators, and the gas stations are running their pumps on generators just to get gas out of the tanks, and their credit card machines were not working. You'd have to go inside, pay cash, go back out and pump. And if you didn't have cash, you didn't get gas. Couldn't go to the ATM, get cash, because your banks didn't have power. So luckily, at least for me and some of my close friends, we happened to have a little bit of cash on us, and we were able to make it through those 2 weeks. But suddenly, if you recall, at least here in the South, the whole narrative about coin shortages just disappeared, and we haven't really heard much about it. But I remember back then thinking, like, what do you mean we're having a coin shortage? Like, is someone hoarding all the pennies? Is someone collecting nickels all of a sudden? Like, how do we just overnight, within 30 days or less, have a coin issue? And how all of a sudden does it just go away? So you got to ask yourself, there's a lot going on there. Something's up. So that was my first little clue that something wasn't right. Last summer, if you recall, and again, I apologize for getting a little bit political. I try not to on this channel, but we're talking about the IRS and the government, so it's going to be hard not to get political. But doesn't matter if you're Republican, Democrat, Independent, Liberal, right wing, left wing, doesn't matter what party you're a part of. They all play the same game. So last summer, tax the rich, and this is the playbook that they always use. And this is how, and I talk a little bit about this in my book, Be Small, Fight Big, shameless plug, about hiring people. Often the person that you hire through the interview process is the best liar, and that's the truth of it. So you don't really want to use what people say as a hiring indicator. You want to use their history, what they do. And so when we talk about politics and politicians, forget what they're saying, look at what they do. And this is the playbook that they always use. So they say one thing that everyone can get behind: tax the rich. Who doesn't want to say, hey, fair taxes for everyone? Yeah, let's do it. Sounds great. It's a great narrative. Everyone can get behind it. But they're going to parties with the ultra wealthy. All their supporters are ultra wealthy. Some of them are ultra wealthy. Somebody walking by. Like, we have some people that are in Congress that are worth nearly $500 million, being nothing but a public servant, for the last 40-something years. Doesn't happen by accident, people. So do you think they're going to tax themselves? Do you think they're going to tax their donors, their wealthy donors, or their wealthy corporations? No. But like always, we're so stupid, we wave the little flags because, hey, we're with you. That sounds like a bill we want you to pass. Please do it. Tax the rich. And then what happens 9 times out of 10? Do they tax the rich? 9 times out of 10, no. None of the things that they've ever talked about doing has ever actually happened. It usually ends up falling on the backs of middle and lower class Americans that carry the weight of the entire country. Rewind even further back. What was tax supposed to be? When they started talking about income tax way back when it was approved, it was promoted as this is just a 3% tax or a low percent. Don't quote me on the percentages. You may have to go look it up. Go Google it. But it was supposed to be 2 or 3% tax on just the upper class wealthy. I don't know about you, but here we are, many decades later. I'm not ultra wealthy, and I pay well over a 30% in taxes, and I'm sure you do too. So total BS, right? These mother effers, I'm going to cuss a little bit in this, try not to. They tell us one thing and do something else. So we are totally stupid. We bought it, we drank it, we was drinking the Kool-Aid like it was nobody's business. Period. Tax the wealthy. We were all about it. You say, what are you talking about, Ben? Well, let's fast forward a little bit to today. So they told us what we wanted to hear, and they did something different. So when they were talking about taxing the wealthy, taxing the rich, this is going to make an even playing field, my antenna started going up because, again, I know that when they say something, it sounds great. It's usually BS. Then they started talking about $600. We needed access to bank accounts of $600. Wealthy people, $600 is nothing. I mean, that's probably one good meal, right? So $600, why do you need access to that's the average American, right? That's nothing. So that was the first thing that kind of said something's not quite right. Then they said we need to hire 80,000 IRS agents. You could probably track the ultra wealthy in the U.S. with about 10 IRS agents. You don't need 80,000 IRS agents. What do you need 80,000 IRS agents for? Who could they be tracking? I wonder. Everybody. All right. So that should have been another red flag, but we kept drinking the Kool-Aid. We are the dumbest species on the planet. And it's every single thing that they ever want, every playbook ever. You look at these relief packages that have been passed over the last couple of years, and you get $200 or $300 million going into organizations that happen to be owned, or that a percentage of that organization is owned by a congressman's spouse, etc. It's just, it's wealth redistribution, all right, but it's not going to the lower class. It's not going back to the middle class. It's redistribution of our tax dollars, our wealth, into the pockets of the people that are supposed to be representing us. You can Google it. You can figure it out. You're not stupid. I'm just picking on you. We're not really that dumb, but we are to some extent. We just get getting eat up by it. So the purpose of this video, and this is where it comes in to be important for everybody else in general, if you file taxes in the U.S. So the $600 thing ends up being not just if you have a $600, transactions in your bank account, but if you accept over $600 in any digital form, and that was the door they wanted to get into. They wanted to see what you were doing with your side income, your hustle, whatever. So a very good friend of mine got a 1099-C from Facebook, because guess what? They bought and sold some stuff on the Facebook marketplace that totaled over $600. If you, and this is how I understand it, I'm not giving you financial advice. I'm not an accountant. I'm not a CPA. I'm just a business coach. But if you take more or send more than $600 through PayPal, through Zelle, through just about all the digital money transfer platforms or payment platforms, you're going to receive a 1099-C from that organization. And you're going to have to file that on your taxes and explain what that money was for. That impacts everybody. I pay my daughter $20 a month in allowance. I don't know if that's good or bad. Don't judge me. That's what I pay her. And I pay her through Zelle. She's young and she's a high school student, and we're trying to teach her how to manage money. So she has her own checking account, and I transfer her money every Friday, $20 a week. Well, you can do the math. 52 weeks times $20 is over $600. So at the end of the year, she's going to get a 1099-C and have to explain that money. Now, of course, she's a student, so even if she filed tax, she'd get it all back, but that's not the point. It's gotten ridiculous. Why does the government want to know about every little transaction? And why were they pushing us away from more digital currency and away from cash-based and coin-based type of transactions? Because they want to tax the hell. They've tipped their hand. They want to tax the hell out of the average American. All your side hustles, anything you do that might actually be considered income, even though it's probably really not, it's not something you do as a business, they're going to come after that money. You need to be ready when they come after that money. So there are some things I'm told that you can do when you send money through Zelle or PayPal or what's the other one? I don't even know. That you can mark it as gift. Those kind of things. I don't know how true that is. I don't know if that's going to make a difference. I'm pretty sure it's still going to, because no one's reading the memos at PayPal. It's going to generate, I'm sure, a 1099-C, and you're still going to have to explain where that money come from. So the world is changing around us, ladies and gentlemen. The government's in your back pocket. And like I said, all you have to do is look at the history of any political party and see that they tell us one thing, do something else. So start looking at when they start sounding and saying, and there's a narrative that just sounds too good to be true, or something that everyone can easily get behind. It's probably bullshit, and you need to start looking at what's really going on. Tax the rich, but we want access to $600 or more, information on bank accounts. We're having a coin shortage. We need to hire 80,000 IRS agents. Those things should start sending off red flags, because the narrative does not meet with what we're seeing here on Main Street at all, not even a little bit. That's all I got for you guys. Comment below if you're starting to get those 1099-Cs. I was told they weren't supposed to go into effect till next tax season, till next year, but like I said, I've had some friends that said they started seeing 1099-Cs from Facebook and other organizations. So if you're a small business owner, or you're just the average Joe that has a little side hustle, things are starting to get tricky. They're going to start limiting how you can interact. So, I'm not telling you how to be, but cash is king. That's all I can tell you guys. Appreciate you. Hope you learned at least one thing that'll help take you to the next level. Check out my website, explosivesmallbusinessgrowth.com. You can get some free training there. And of course, you can join our Facebook group, which is the Next Level Leadership and Small Business Owner Show, which is a Facebook group that revolves around the podcast of the same name. If you haven't heard of our podcast or my podcast, go check that out on Stitcher and on Apple and just about anywhere podcasts are played. That's all I got, guys. Take care. See you soon.